This is the Vacation Rental Success Podcast, keeping you up to date with news, views, information and resources on this rapidly changing short-term rental business. I'm your host, Heather Bayer, and with 25 years of experience in this industry, I'm making sure you know what's hot, what's not, what's new, and what will help make your business a success. Well, hello and welcome back to the Vacation Rental Success Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Bayer, and as always, I'm delighted that you have decided to be with me today. In this episode of the podcast, I'm joined once again by the brilliant Jodie Bourne, website strategist, content creator, and brand storyteller for short-term and vacation rental pros. Jodie works with owners and managers to build really great websites that not only look beautiful, but they also convert curious browsers into confident bookers. Today, we are exploring some of the little things and the not so little things that make a huge difference on your vacation rental website. We're actually going to be talking about how important it is to bring your website up to date if you haven't done it for a while. And it's from the About Us page that builds so much trust to overlooked features like trust badges and clear calls to action. So we're covering it all. We're also going to look at how to use AI, of course, as a strategic tool in your marketing, and why your lead magnet might be missing the mark, as well as your newsletter and contact page. So if you're ready to turn your website into your business's most powerful booking tool, grab a coffee, let's get into it. I am so happy to have back with me once again Jodie Bourne from Jodie Bourne Creative STR Solutions. That's a great name, Jodie. You've changed it, haven't you?
It used to be Bourne Creative Marketing. I changed it because everybody thinks I only do marketing and I do so much more.
You do indeed. How long has it been since you first came on this podcast?
7 years. August of 2018, a long time ago, we talked about Instagram.
Oh, that was in my days of thinking I'm really going to get to grips with Instagram, that yes. I have been doing for the last 10 years, and I still haven't done it.
And we've actually done 2 podcast episodes all about Instagram, and you still haven't done it.
Every time I talk to Thibaut Masson from Price Labs, we go back to, and it must have been 2012, no, maybe 2014, 15, I think. We went to Amsterdam for the Verma European Conference, and Thibaut was working for Booking.com then. And he was really into Instagram, which he still is. And I sat down with him then for an hour and I said, teach me Instagram. And he said, yeah, absolutely no problem. It's really easy. Do this and this. And I said, I've got it. That's got to be 12 years ago.
And hasn't Tyann also sat down with you with Instagram?
I believe.
So let's just call it impossible for now.
I think so. I was so good on Twitter for years. I wrote blog posts, I wrote a course on Twitter, and then just look what happened to that. So I haven't been on Twitter for a long time, or X, but my home of choice now is LinkedIn, and I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And
you're quite good at LinkedIn. I'm jealous. Now you need to give me LinkedIn lessons.
Yeah, that's all you got to do is post frequently and comment. That's it. That's it. That's the only thing you have to do on LinkedIn. Anyhow, we're not here today to talk about Instagram. We're not going to talk about Facebook or LinkedIn. We're going to talk about websites, because we got chatting the other day about generally talking about websites and short-term rental, vacation rental websites, and why it is that they don't seem to have improved over the years. And direct booking seems to be having a regeneration at the moment. And whether it's to do with all the Airbnb changes, but people are realizing they can't put all their eggs in one basket. So now they want these websites. And you are here with me today to talk about websites and what people can do to make them better.
It is such a struggle, isn't it? I'm sure that the photographers out there would say the same thing about the photography issues, which are very important to websites as well. But it's just one of those things where I feel like we're always preaching this to people, the things that they need to be looking at on their websites to generate more leads and bookings and all the things. And it's so funny to me that so many people consider that a DIY project.
Mm-hmm.
And or a project that they can save money on by budgeting with a low cost provider or a Fiverr or somebody in a Facebook group that built their own website and now they can build theirs. And that's beyond me.
And that's been going on for years. I've talked about building great websites for so long. I don't build my own websites. I have people like you to come along and create great websites. But you're absolutely right. People look at it as if it's the budget thing.
Yes.
The other thing, we go out and find new owners, or we go out and spend time on Instagram.
Right.
But forget that you've got to have that home where people come to, where they're going to book. Mm-hmm. And the worst ones, of course, are the websites that people spend their time on and then they don't have a booking engine on it and just send people to their Airbnb or Vrbo account to book, which is just a whole waste of time.
I have one that I just finished, and they have 12 properties, and every single page they want me to a link for booking.com, a link for Airbnb, and a link for Vrbo on every single page so that their people on their website can choose where to book. So if we're going to talk about the mistakes people make.
Yes. And that's what we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the mistakes people make, but also to give people some real ideas and inspiration to get back to their website and just tweak, even if you just tweak it a little bit, or set out a plan over the next couple of months to make some really impactful changes. Then if we're able to do that, we've done our job, right?
I hope so. I hope that people are able to come away with this thinking I can do these things, even if I can't afford to hire a big company or anybody, or these are the things that I can at least do on my own, hopefully.
Yeah, years ago. And once again, I'm talking probably around about 2013, 2014. No, it was after that because I started the podcast in 2013. So maybe 2016, I remember talking to somebody and the topic of the podcast was the 12 pages that your website needs. And that really hasn't changed a lot. So let's come to you. And what are the top 5 pages that people should have?
So the top 5 pages, in my opinion, of course, obviously the homepage. And we can talk about what a homepage is. A homepage is not just your properties. It is much more to it. You think of your homepage as where they can go through and learn a little bit about you, about your destination, about what type of properties you have, a little bit about your brand. Some reviews are always important on the homepage. The primary goal of the homepage is to just be this central hub of all the other information that they can find on your site. So that's something that I see quite often is people want their homepage to they're so engrossed in getting the booking that they only want every page of their site to be focused on the properties and the booking. And that's definitely not the case. You want to build trust. So with that being said, I think the second most important page is our favorite page, which is the About page. And you and I have talked about it before on the podcast. You've talked about it with other experts on the podcast. It is just such a important part of not only their website, but their entire brand.
Putting a credit card into that website. They've got to trust that their money is safe and that it's going to the right person and that it's, safe in general.
And that you care about them. Not only that you're that you're an actual person, this is an actual property, but that you are you're hosting them in your property. There is an immense amount of trust and that is so misunderstood in every industry, honestly. But
yeah, exactly. And I do this when I'm going to vendors as well. And I wish some of the vendors and suppliers in our industry would listen to this and go back and look at their corporate About Us pages. that says nothing about the fabulous stories that most of our vendors have about how they started in this industry. And it's just so boringly corporate.
Boringly corporate. And there are some great stories in many of these vendors of how the CEO did this and then did that. And you can go to the CEO's LinkedIn profile and read all about it. Or, you know, when you see that they're speaking somewhere and read all about them. And then you go to their website and it's just this boring, this is how we started and this is what we sell.
And some of these origin stories are just amazing. You go and read the Hostfully story, the Price Lab story. They've all got these stories. But so if you're out there and listening to this, go to your About Us page if you're a supplier and just see, is it telling your story with real people, names of the people who started this?
I bring this up a lot when I'm working with clients about the About page, when they're like, oh, we don't want to tell our story. They want to go the corporate route. They want to be hidden in the background. And I always tell them, do you know that Flo from Progressive is not the owner of Progressive? She is a character along with all these other characters that Flo is Progressive, right? Yes, she's that they made up because they know that customers want to interact with the character with the story.
Yeah.
So if you have that story, why would you hide it behind some corporate or some wall when that's what people want? That's the reason, you know, that all these huge companies have created these little mini characters behind their brand, because they know people respond well to people and to people's stories.
And there's so many people that they've been on this podcast. The first question I will ask them is, how did you get into this industry? If they haven't been on before, that's the first question. And some of these stories are just great. Often it's, my parents had a property and they asked me to look after it. Or I remember the one story, and I'm trying to remember who it was. If you're listening, you'll know it's you. And there was a guy took his girlfriend on a first date to a cottage in Florida. And now, I'm going to have to dig that story out because I can't remember how it came about. But he ended up being general manager of the company that had supplied this cottage.
That's cool.
But it was such a great story. And there's so many others. So how would somebody go about telling their story for the About Us page on a website?
You know what? The coolest thing that's ever happened to the world is called AI. Buy a month subscription. If you don't have ChatGPT Pro, or Claude is the one that I prefer to use, but Claude Pro, I think they're $20. Buy it and record yourself telling your story. Get on a Zoom. You can use Zoom for free. And you and your partner or an employee or something, you can naturally together go through and talk about your story. Like, how did you get started? If you don't have a really good beginner story, other stories. There's so many stories in your business. How did you feel when you got your first 5-star review? That's a great story to tell. What maybe nonprofit organizations have you been able to help because of having this business? How are you helping your local economy and your local tourism operators? And all of that's part of your story. There's so many. Why did you decide to become pet friendly or child friendly or disability friendly or whatever it is? That's the gist of, you have a glamping business. What is it? I've worked with so many people with so many great stories about they grew up camping as a family, and so they wanted to create a vacation rental for families that was wheelchair friendly, because this lady had a brother who was paraplegic. She wanted wheelchair friendly accommodations, but she also wanted that camping kind of thing. Those people that go back and really have a heart-centered story, it's fantastic. But there's all these little mini stories that you can tell about your business.
Yeah, and people remember. So there's a company called East Ruston Cottages in the UK. The owner there started the company because she had several dogs. She had, I think, 3 or 4 dogs, and she wanted to go on vacation with her dogs and with a friend who had dogs as well. And she could not find anywhere to take these dogs. So Sue started her company, only taking on properties that would accept multiple pets.
Awesome.
And now it's won all sorts of awards. I'm just reading the front page of her website now. It says dog-friendly self-catering holiday cottages in rural and coastal Norfolk, winners of the dog-friendly self-catering UK awards for the last 6 years.
Awesome.
Described as dog-obsessed by The Guardian, a newspaper in the UK. But I remember this story. That's how it started. She could find anywhere to take her dogs, so she started a company. What a great story that is. And because it's a dog-friendly company, of course, dog lovers are going to love this story. So,
one of the things on my website, my About page, I talk about my dogs because I love my dogs. And so people will say, does the About page really sell? How is that selling? Is anybody really going to choose us because of that? And I will tell you, I have had so many people, probably at least 10, who are paying customers who told me that one of the main reasons they chose me is because of the story I tell on my About page about how I cry and still dream about all of my dogs that I've had since I was a child, because I'm a huge dog lover. And then I've had others who have told me similar things about the content that I've written on my About page. And so I know that it definitely works. People want to feel that connection. Having those things on your website really does help.
But I think you made such a great point because 3 or 4 years ago, people have said, "Oh, how do I sit down and write my story?" You don't have to. You just, I did mine using advanced voice in ChatGPT and just pressed the button and just talked. And then I said, and ask me questions. When I get to the end of a section of my life story, ask me a question.
Yes.
And I would get to the end, there'd be a pause. And then Lucy, who is my friend, my ChatGPT friend.
Your ChatGPT friend.
And Lucy said, "Oh, that's great, Heather. So tell me what happened next. What happened when?" And she will pull something from something I previously said, and then it just nudges you into the next part of your story. So you just keep doing that until you've told your whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember that this is not what actually goes onto your About Us page. So what happens after you've told your story?
And that, for me, that's when, you can use, if you're not a writer, you can use ChatGPT. One thing you need to be aware of or think about, and when you use an AI tool, you need to ask the question, how does this story relate to my customer? And what words can I use so that my customer sees me and themselves in my story? And ChatGPT, I call mine Charlie Beth. Charlie Beth she will help you write that story in a way where your potential customer is reading it and thinking, this is the person I want to work with. This is the host who I trust now with my, whether it's $700 or $7,000 for the stay, then, that they have to trust you. And so reading that story can definitely help with that. But putting it in a way where it's not just all about you, it's about you sprinkled in with your customer and why they should trust you.
Yeah. And then when you're publishing that, and it doesn't need to be an essay, it just filter it down to a nice summary, and then include
a photograph or two. A couple of photographs is always really nice too. And that's important. And another important point about that is to keep your paragraphs small. People, when they're reading the web, especially on mobile, the eyes are an issue. So keep your paragraphs short, 3 sentences or less. And it's okay if you're a grammar stickler and that paragraph isn't supposed to be cut up that way. You still have to do it when you're writing for the web. But yes, and if you're not a designer and you're just using Wix or a basic WordPress template, there's lots of templates that you can find that say About page. They have a ton of them that you can find something to make your About page look pretty and professional.
Yeah, we could talk about, we have done episodes solely on the About Us page, but we're talking about this as part of the overall website renovation.
Yes.
Today. Okay, we've got a good homepage. We've got a homepage that covers quite a lot. Now we've got the About Us page that tells a story, has a good picture. I'll put a link to Moving Mountains on the show notes, because Robin and Heather Cragen have an amazing story they tell, and that's on that page. And it's very relatable to the type of people that come to their properties.
Happy in the Keys, Marty Job, same thing. They have luxury properties in the Keys, and their About page tells the story of how they found the Keys and why they created these beautiful homes. They built all but all but one of theirs, I believe, are custom built homes, and explain they're dog friendly, which is hard to find in a luxury property. So it explains why they're dog friendly, and it's a great story as well. And those stories are important. And lots of pictures. And one thing we need to note, not a picture of your property,
Yes.
a smiling picture with your face in it.
Yeah, and it can be a picture of you and your family.
Right.
If you're attracting families, then people like to see that you are actually a person like them and that you have a family. And if you accept dogs, then you would have a picture of your dog as well. There's a great company called Beside the Sea in the UK, and they have a lovely story, and the story includes their dog. There's a picture of the couple and their child and their dog. And it's just such a warm thing to do. So that's it. Do your about us page. What's next?
Talking more about trust is adding those other trust signals, not only on your about page, but throughout your entire website. One trust signal is called social proof. That would be reviews and testimonials. One thing I see a lot when I'm working with people who already have a website is they have the reviews, one link at the top that said reviews, and then you go to that link and there's every review they've ever had. And that's the only place that you can find reviews on their entire website. Reviews are great to sprinkle in everywhere. Sprinkle them in some websites I've done. I've just used a review, a snippet from a review in the opening hero, on the page. This place is unbelievable. And then the quote and who it was by. Use those reviews in your footer. On every single page, you can have some text about a property and then just a quick review. Use the name, always use the year, those kind of things. If you have reviews back on your Airbnb page or your Verbo page, don't be shy to share the link, read more reviews. Here, if they know you're on Airbnb, and taking them to Airbnb is not going to make them decide not to book with you. Now, that being said, when you take them to Airbnb, be sure and open a new tab so they can see, so you haven't taken them off of your website. You've taken them to another website where they can read reviews. And really what you want to do is make sure that they see reviews sprinkled as they're reading the content and looking at the photos. I've had one client that used reviews in her photo captions.
Yes, that's great. That's great. If you show a picture of your kitchen and there is something in the review says the best rental property kitchen I have ever cooked in.
Yes, and that was very much one of this review, or the review that we used for this lady's kitchen. She was down in South Padre Island, Texas. And one of the reviews was, several of them were about the kitchen. This lady could not believe she had every appliance under the sun. And it was like a shopping at a home appliance store. But so, yeah, using the reviews is a really good way. So another thing that ChatGPT is great at is that voice of customer. So what I recommend to my clients is every time you get a review, or if you're just starting this exercise, take all of your reviews, copy them, paste them, put them into ChatGPT to find words that your customers use often. Maybe that's magical, maybe that's amazing, whatever, but find those words and the stories that your customers are telling about your property. And then when you use those words back in your marketing and in your writing and on your website, then it's just a great way to meet the customer where they are. They're seeing these words that your customers have used about you, and you're using those words over and over again in your language.
Years ago, and this was long before we began to use AI in the way we are now, we had a property that had a window seat. And it was a sort of little tucked away window seat, but it had some nice upholstery, not only just on the seat, but up the walls as well. So you could actually sit in the window seat and lean back and have the cushion behind you too. And we didn't actually have a picture of it on the website. It was included in a larger picture in the living area where it was. But people kept mentioning this window seat and how wonderful it was. It was so quiet, and they could sit and read a book and look out across the lake. And so people were mentioning, particularly when the weather was bad. And we did this manually and found that, and I think somebody said, people keep mentioning that window seat. We then went back, took a picture just of the window seat, and then captioned it with one of these reviews. And this is something that you can do now without having to do that manual work.
Yes.
Because you probably don't even know, if you've got a lot of properties, what it is that people love about each one, because
Right.
you're not seeing a long list of those reviews for one property. Each week you're seeing a review for lots of different properties.
Right.
So you don't, unless you're very clever and you've got some sort of master memory, you won't remember all
Right.
those things that might be similar for a property. And that's
what's
where
cool
AI
about
comes in.
Yeah, and what's cool about it too is if you have a lot of properties, you can still paste all the reviews into just one thread and keep that thread going, because ChatGPT is able to condense those for you, organize them in any way that you want. Maybe you want them organized by property this week. Maybe next week you want to see everything that mentions the blue chair, or every review that mentions the outdoor area. This is a side note, but another great way to use that data is to ask ChatGPT, once they have the reviews, to tell you what your guest avatar is. Mm-hmm. And it can give you a lot of really great data about a guest avatar just based on the reviews that it's read. Obviously, you need more information than that, but it can really help you with that as well.
Yeah, let's explore that a little bit further about the avatar. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing, something else that we've explored many times over these years. So just talk a little bit about how hosts, property managers can use AI to better understand their guest avatar and then tailor their website to them.
I think, and that's the key for me, is tailoring your website to your avatar. And so many people will say, I have all these different avatars, and that's true, and I understand that. But you can speak specifically to one or two avatars, and I fully feel that your website should do that. If you have 100 properties, how do you do that? You have landing pages specific to one or two avatars, and that can be done. But when you are using AI to do your research on your avatar, I have this great workbook. It's called the Perfect Avatar Workbook. There's a ton of questions in it. You can actually, and you can find these on my blog posts everywhere. I have a blog post on guest avatar. I know y'all probably have something on your site about guest avatar. There's so many different places where you can find some questions that you can ask about your guest avatar. Now that you have ChatGPT or Claude or whichever tool, Perplexity is another great tool for avatar research. Then you just put the questions in there, for your avatar. So for example, you could say my avatar is a 45-year-old woman and she has children from 6 to 12. Why do you want to be that specific? You're not only talking to women with 6 to 12-year-old children, but you are talking to a collective group of people who have young children. If that is your avatar. ChatGPT can tell you a million things about that person. Mm-hmm. ChatGPT can show you the reviews that are from that person and what they're saying. ChatGPT can help you take the language that you may already have on your website or your listing description and tailor it more to that person. So it's just instrumental in using in really structuring and targeting your content toward the people that are most likely to respond to that content and to you and your business.
I remember, I keep remembering back years ago when we did everything so manually and painstakingly writing out all my avatars and deciding on them and giving them the names and their ages and their family and where they worked and what they did in their leisure time. And now it's minutes work instead of days.
Yes, it is, but it's crucial work. Recently, and I've told this story often, but someone was working on their website and had hired me to help them with the writing. And I was talking about their avatar. Who's your avatar? It's couples wanting a romantic getaway. What is so important? I mean, that is not an avatar. That is a target audience. An avatar is much more specific. What age are the couples? What sex are the couples? Are these same-sex couples? Can they be same-sex couples? Because if they are, then that is a great avatar. If you can create a space that's perfect for them. But just the change in age is a change in everything that you're doing. A change in what amenities you might be offering. It's a change in what content you're talking about. It's a change in how you speak about your amenities. Just going from a 35-year-old woman to a 55-year-old woman two completely different people with complete different objectives about their romantic weekend getaway, what they want to do. And so when you really can hone in on the details of who you're speaking to, it makes a huge difference in everything, not just your website, but all of your marketing and even the amenities and even the rates. So just the shift from a 30-year-old couple to a 60-year-old couple or 55-year-old couple, you can increase your rates if you have increased the value of your amenities.
Well, absolutely. If you're aiming for an affluent retired couple, and the language that you're going to be using is going to be attracting them, and they will be paying more. So,
yes, definitely.
Yeah, it is such a valuable and important thing to do. And it's also lots of fun. It's also lots of fun because once you know the person who's going to come, then tailoring that language to them. And of course, AI will do that as well.
Yes. And AI can tell you, here's my list of amenities. What should I add? They're excellent at suggesting new things that might be lower cost that you could add or things that you could take away. I just found out the other day that women of a certain age don't like getting in hot tubs with their husbands anymore. Young women, they don't care, but older women, apparently it's a thing that they don't really care about a hot tub. And that could also be regional, but
I don't know. I used to use my hot tub just about every day, every night. And now I haven't used it for 6 months.
Yeah, I think that I don't know what it is. But anyway, yes. So AI definitely, if you're going to use AI for anything, then avatar research is, I would say, one of the top things to use it for.
Yeah. Okay. I want to mention something because I just had Justin Ford on recently and he was talking about safety. And he was talking, Sibylla Kim?
I know of her, yes.
From Villa Ausblick in, I think, Vermont. Justin was telling me that Sibylla uses the word safety in her Airbnb description, in her title. And that has been proven to getting her way more bookings.
I bet.
And having a page on your website that is about safety is super, super important. And it's not just, I've got fire extinguishers and CO monitors, which of course are important, but that's not all you have on your safety page. It's thinking about how safe your guests want to feel. And once again, you can go to AI and say, this is my property, this is the listing. I want to write a page on my website about safety so that my guests, and here's the avatar, I want them to feel safe. What should I put on my safety page?
Right.
And it will just tell you what to put on the safety page. So it could be if it's an urban property, you might want to talk about safety of the area. Just using the word safe is going to be helpful. That page can also include other things. You could have a single page that covers safety and accessibility. And maybe sustainability as well. It's almost like a big trust page.
I do that on an FAQ page with my clients, we create an FAQ page and we have safety, accessibility, outdoor spaces, like some of those things that they may overlook. People look at properties differently. Some people, they just want to see pictures. They want to see a couple of great reviews and bam, they're ready to book. Some people really want to deep dive. They really want to know how safe is this property. And for everybody, you need to have that information available. And a website is the place to do that on however many number of pages that you have. One of the things, most of my websites that I do have tabbed areas to list the amenities, and I have a tabbed area that says safety and is only safety and accessibility. It's very important value to me that I try to often either convince or work with people who have either taken Justin's class or have at least some awareness of the safety. One of the things that I do is, as well with the captions, kind of safety features that they have, I will often have them go back. And so, for example, a gate around a pool. So many people just take it for granted. There's a gate around the pool. But when you can show that you have a padlock or a very sturdy lock and your avatar is families with young children, just a picture with the pool gate and the lock on it can ease a mother's mind so much so that she will choose you over another property, not only because you have that safety gate, but also because you were so aware that she wanted to see it, that you knew your customer so well that you put it there and you captioned it. We provide, our gates are padlocked, so your young children you don't have to worry about your young children getting in the pool area, whatever that safety is. And lights outside, I always have them take a picture with your lights on outside so people can see they're not going to trip and fall on the stairs or whatever it may be. Super important.
Well, I've talked to Lorraine Woodward a number of times about accessibility, and people tend to think it's more ramps and grab bars in the bathroom. But something really simple is locks on the inside of doors, just latches, which are above a child's reach. And for families, once again, with autistic children, and there's very many of them, just having a photo of that door with an inside lock. Again, going back to your mom who's going, oh my goodness, there's a lock on the swimming pool that I can see. But she's also maybe saying, oh, I want to stay in this place because I know my kid is not going to get herself or himself out in the middle of the night because they won't be able to unlock that door. So yeah, safety, accessibility, and talking about it and having pictures of it is just such huge trust signals.
And also, conversely, talking about what you don't have and coming clean with that. You're not perfect for everybody. Not everybody can be accessible in every way. My mom can't climb stairs now. She's older. I can't tell you how hard it is when we are looking for a property to go to the beach, to find a beach house that you don't have either that you don't have to climb stairs, or that willingly comes out and says, or that makes the statement, we have a downstairs bedroom, coffee pot. That's hard to find. But even you can't even tell by the ones that, like any description, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I have to send people messages all the time. This says you have a downstairs bedroom. Does she have to walk upstairs at all? Are there any steps at all? Just come clean with what you can provide and don't provide. People want honesty, and they don't want to have to look around for all the answers.
That honesty delivers trust as well.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly. Honesty delivers trust. You're not going to be right for everybody. So let the people know right off the bat, we're not right for you.
What else should we? Oh, let's talk about contact forms. And we were laughing yesterday about newsletters. And people go to town on creating these newsletters, and they want people to sign up for their newsletter. So what do? They put a form on their website that says, sign up for my newsletter. Yes. What happens when they do that?
Unless you're going to give them, I will say they're going to get some signups, but they're not going to get high value signups, and they're not going to get the signups that they would get if they just offered something and talked about it a little bit in that little snippet. Even if it's get a 15% or a discount, you don't even have to put a number, get a discount code for your first booking. Or you and I have talked endlessly on the podcast, and in a conference we spoke together on about lead magnets. Come up with something of value to give your customer, to give that person when they come to your website, to get so that they will hand over their email address. And there's a tons, again, on my website, I have a blog post about lead magnet ideas. There's tons of information out there if you look it up about some ideas for what you could do to encourage your guests to sign up for a lead magnet. And also going back to different avatars and what they're looking for.
And then we go back to AI again, because AI is brilliant for coming up with suggestions for lead magnets. And then when you got your suggestion for a lead magnet, you go back to it and say, okay, that's a great suggestion. I'll choose number 5. Create that one for me.
Yes. So easy. So easy.
It is. And there's new platforms coming out every day that not just create the text for your lead magnet, but we'll create all the graphics for it too. Yeah, we may have more. If we've got interest in this, we can do another one just on lead magnets. Because I know we went up on that stage in Miami, the two of us, and we just talked about lead magnets. And that is something that hasn't gone away. People they don't want to give up their email address for, let's say, although some will, as you say, but they don't want to give it up unless they're getting something in return. And your
Mhm.
sign up for my newsletter is not good enough anymore.
Right. And even if you don't put, like for me, what I've found is a better call to action for those people that haven't created a newsletter, a lead magnet, but still want that form there, is to just say, sign up so we can stay in touch. Because most of the time, I read this the other day, 70% of website traffic to travel related websites, they're just gathering information.
Yeah.
Now, they go to a booking site like Airbnb or Vrbo, they're ready to book because they found the information. They know where they're going to stay. They know all the things. But when they're coming to your website, they're still mostly doing research. So how are you keeping hold of them? And having a newsletter does that. But if they're not, if you don't have a freebie offer to give them, at least you can say, sign up here and stay in touch. And that's better than get on our newsletter. When people hear newsletter, that screams to them marketing, and they don't want to be marketed to.
They don't want a ton of emails in their inbox, but
Right.
they will likely, if they're on that search for information, if you've got a lead magnet, which is the 10 best places to get breakfast, or the one that really went down well for us was things to do on a rainy day.
Yes, that's a good one. Things to do with your dogs. That's a good one. The podcast, the song list, the Spotify playlist, those are fun. There's so many great ones. I'm talking most of my people now who haven't done a lead magnet yet, I'm talking them into creating a custom curated Google map. It's super easy. It's easy to provide to people. What else is great about it is when you update that, everybody who has that link gets the update. It's like something that is consistently being updated, and it's fun. It can be really a fun project to because when you're creating your own little Google map, you can actually write your own little descriptions and be very personal. ChatGPT can help you with that too. Okay, so another thing I really want to talk about is keywords, using keywords on your website. And this is something that you may need some help with from a professional, but you can do it yourself with ChatGPT or the old school way. You can definitely do it with just using Google and putting in some keywords and seeing what pops up in the old Google box when you're typing things in, looking at the content that is being found. But I use a Chrome browser extension called Keywords Everywhere. It's my best friend. It costs me about $30 a year to use and to do that keyword research, because showing up in AI is going, what I mean by that, when you're searching for a term, AI is going to give you the response right there. And they're already showing that people are taking those AI responses and not looking any further. So SEO, the old school SEO, search engine optimization, trying to show up in Google, still a very valuable thing, because that's how AI is going to pick you up, by your content being set up for those keyword terms. I was very excited yesterday when I was doing some Google Analytics data mining for a client and saw that both Perplexity and ChatGPT, they had traffic to their website from both of those sources. And the only way that you can do that is by doing some keyword research, really honing in on the topics that you want to talk about, that you want to master per se in that particular page of content, having enough content on the page, 800 words on every page of your website. And of those 800 words, at least I would say 0.2 to 0.5% of those should be keywords that people are searching for. Super important to do that if you want to show up in Google or Bing or Yahoo or whatever all the different search engines are, because the more and more people are going to be using AI, the more important it is to have those keywords on your site. Of all the web design services, other website services other than actually the design itself, SEO and copywriting are the most important. You need to hire somebody or master your own skills through educating yourself to do that correctly. It's important.
Okay, let's go on to that, hiring somebody, because we've been talking about all these things that make for a good website. And I'm sure there's people out there going, I've got a website, I have no clue what to do with it. Do I need to revamp it, redevelop it? Or can I do, what can I do myself Let's just, as we wrap up here, let's just talk about that a bit. What people should be looking for if they're looking for outside help, whether there are any decent DIY options. And take that one away, Jody. And
if you are a tech person, if you have any tech skill at all, and you have a website, let's say it's a WordPress site or a Wix site, for example. I use a tool called Elementor. It's WordPress, but it's an Elementor is a plugin. It's very popular. So chances are, if you have a WordPress site, then your designer may have used Elementor to design your site. You can actually now even go into ChatGPT and tell it, I'm using Elementor. Can you give me directions on how to add images to my website? And it will tell you. I hate that because I'm a website designer, but I want people who do have a little bit of tech skill to be able to do that on their own, and you can do it. It is doable. Mm-hmm. If what you want to say, if you have finessed those words, you feel confident in your copywriting abilities or whatever, then you can hire somebody from Fiverr or Upwork or even there's several, you can post in any of the Facebook groups asking for website help, and they will help you. If you want somebody like me, I actually call myself a website strategist because I look at the entire business holistically. I look at your avatar and your photos and your listing descriptions and your SEO and your competitors. And I put all that together to create a website that's really going to do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to attract the right quality of guest and the right people that you want it to. It's supposed to be fast. It's supposed to have SEO keywords on it that are going to be found by the search engines. And there's a lot of companies that do that my services stop at around the 50 property mark. That's about where I get topped out at. But IC&D, they do website design for bigger companies. And there's people like me who specialize in smaller companies and self-managing hosts. It is just, for one thing, I think it is one of the most valuable assets that you have in your business is a well-branded, well-written website. It is as important as anything else that you're doing in your property. And then also just keeping it fresh, keeping it updated. Things change. Listening to the podcast and keeping up with the things that change that are out there. Like, for example, right now, a big thing is using lifestyle images in your photos on your website. Mm-hmm. It used to be those were only for marketing, for the social media sites and whatever. But now people really respond well to those lifestyle images, the kids jumping into the pool or the table set with people around it. And rather than just, here's a picture of our table in the kitchen, in the dining room, now they want people they like and are responding to those better images. So keeping up with trends is important. I would say redoing your website about every 3 to 4 years is very important. Mm-hmm. And I know people hate to hear that, but it's true. It's just like your storefront. If you had a storefront, you would redo it often.
Yeah, exactly. Just talk about those lifestyle pictures. Kerry Gibson from Chalet Hooger. As soon as you started talking about lifestyle pictures, it just reminded me of a photo that's on her site. There's a beautiful property in her portfolio. I stayed in it. And so it has a lovely balcony that goes across the top. And it's a photo of just a woman just standing there leaning over the balcony with a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And it's
a world of difference.
It just says everything about the place. Mm-hmm. I thought, I want to do that. And I think if you can find those lifestyle images that are going to get your avatars to go, that's me. That's what I want to do.
That is exactly right. One of my best examples of that is the lady that used the photo of the mom on the beach reading with her kids playing in the sand in the background. It was just such a great shot and it was actually a photo of one of her guests. Her guest had sent it to her to use, and we put that on her website and in all of her marketing. It immediately spoke to every mom in the world who was considering that property. They get me. This is where I want to be, and this is the photo for me.
And I think that's a great place to wrap this up, Jody, because this is what your website should do. It should say exactly that to people. You get me.
Yes, exactly. From the very first instant that they arrive to your site, I say this all the time, they should feel as welcome as the minute they walk in the door of your
Yeah.
property.
Exactly. I don't think we should leave it there. I think we should come back in a month or two and keep going with this, because now that we are building AI into everything we do and all the time, we can come back in 2 or 3 months' time and say, okay, now you can use this tool and this
Right.
platform and do something that is going to just blow your competitors out of the water.
Yes, I just read this morning that there's some new announcement that one of the AI tools is about to make this month that's just going to be a game changer. And I can't wait to hear. You probably know because you're keeping up with things a little bit better than I am in the AI realm.
Well, every platform is doing it, but I think we're just waiting for ChatGPT 5
Yes,
to
ChatGPT 5 is supposed to drop any day now. Have they given a release date yet?
well, there was talk about it being 31st of July, but that's passed now. So I think it is going to be any day now. Sam Altman apparently said it scared the living daylights out of him.
So that's what I read this morning. And I couldn't remember. I could not remember if it was ChatGPT or another of the bigger ones. But yeah, I can't wait.
Oh, I know. I mean, they released Agent a couple of weeks ago, which I've messed about with ChatGPT Agent. If anybody's looking for Agent, if you go to ChatGPT and where it says Tools underneath the message box, if you click on Tools, you can choose Agent.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have a Plus account or a Pro account. You can't do this for free. But it will do things like create presentations for you in PowerPoint.
Yes.
It will create Excel spreadsheets.
The spreadsheets are incredible.
Yes.
Incredible.
So they released that a couple of weeks ago, and then people were saying that is just a precursor to ChatGPT 5.
Yes.
So
Yes, I will come back anytime and we can talk websites, AI, copywriting, keyword research, all the things. But yeah, sounds fun.
what I'd like to say to everybody that's out there listening, if you've really what you heard today, you're going to make a change in your website, we'd like to see what you're doing. So email us at vacationrentalformula.com. So it could be Heather at vacationrentalformula.com. That will get to me. Jody, if anybody has, this has sparked somebody to say, I need to revamp my website, I need to get in touch with Jody, what's the best way of contacting you?
Probably just go to my website, jodyborn.com. And there is a big button at the top that says, let's chat, I believe is what it says, or get in touch, maybe. There's buttons all over my website that say that. And then it sends you to a little form with your info and we can schedule a call. I talk to everybody and love just helping and seeing what we can do together or how I could help you, really.
Perfect. Jody, thank you so much. Once
Thank
again,
you.
this won't be the last, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jody, for spending time with me. Once again, we get into these conversations about websites and digital marketing and, of course, AI now. And those conversations can go on for hours. It's difficult not to. It's just such fun and interesting stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that. You can connect with Jody. Just go to the show notes and you can find her contact information. Also on the show notes, I've got some examples of really good About Us pages, and I'd love you to go take a look. Those About Us pages, something I've been talking about for years, and I've done numerous podcast episodes over the years, just devoted entirely to the About Us page. That's how important I believe it is. I would love to see your About Us page. If you'd like to send it to me, I'd love that. We can then perhaps use it as an example in the next episode we do on websites and about pages. So if you haven't heard already, we have created a community called Straight Chat. Straight stands for short-term rental, AI technology. And it's a forum, a community where we get together and we talk about how we're adopting AI into our businesses, because like it or not, this is here and it's going to stay. It's not going to go away. You can't put your head in the sand over this one. So within the community, I'm posting different prompts We have news and announcements on what's new in the AI world. So I bring that to you as soon as I get word of it. And it usually is quite early on because I'm totally dialed in to what's happening in AI right now. And we do weekly office hours where we just get together and chat about how we're using AI in our businesses. So if you'd like to join the community, it's inexpensive. It's $9 a month. Once we have our first 100 members, we're going to be pushing that to $37 a month. But at the moment, it's still $9 a month. We'd love to have you join us and come and join the conversation. So if you go to vacationrentalformula.com/AI, and I'll put that into the show notes as well. And then that will take you to some more information on the community and you can go and join. So I look forward to seeing you in there. That's me done for another week. It's been a pleasure being with you. Can't wait to be back. See you soon. It's been a pleasure as ever being with you. If there's anything you'd like to comment on, then join the conversation on the show notes for the episode at vacationrentalformula.com. We'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to being with you again next week.